The Chamber Orchestra of New York's next performance is February 14th at Carnegie Hall. The concert features clarinetist Ben Barron. And with me today is Ben Barron and Salvatore Di Vittorio, the music director and founder of the Chamber Orchestra of New York. So let's just start with you. Set up the February 14th show. What can people expect?
It's we have three different works. The first is Elgar's Sospiri, which means sighs, and it's a really sublime. It's only 6 minutes, but it's a very sublime piece of music. And on the end of the program, you have a very long work by Richard Strauss, Bourgeois Gentleman, which is quite not very performed, but quite a very interesting piece. It's something that the orchestra has wanted, and I wanted to perform. Daniel and I, the concertmaster, have been talking about it for years. It's a very, very interesting, elegant, and suave sort of piece. It's about 35 minutes long. Ben, do you know the piece?
I do. I do. I played it a few years back. It left a mark. It's challenging and it's a fascinating work.
Very sophisticated. So there are a few reasons. In short, I mean, I'll get to the Copland next, but with the Strauss, it's, as a chamber orchestra, as you know, Jane, we'll go from a dozen players to 50, 60 when needed. But most of the time, we're in the 20s, 30s, 40s, no more than that. And that means you can't really play too much of Richard Strauss's music, which is, for the most part, quite large. And he's one of my, top heroes compositionally, and just a fantastic, very, very, sophisticated level of composition and orchestration as well. And so this is an opportunity to play something very sophisticated of his, which is really for chamber orchestra. The connection for my programming here was that amongst other things, all three works have harp and piano, which is rare, including especially the Sospiri, which a lot of conductors kind of keep on hold until they have those things together. And it turns out that all three works have harp and piano, and they keep the things to chamber orchestra. So in the first half of the program, you have everyone but the winds playing, and then in the second half, you have the Strauss with all the winds playing. So, and then the Copland is fantastic. I have to say, Ben, it's a bit frightening. It's a difficult piece, isn't it?
Very difficult.
That second half, I may bail the concert and go to a movie or something. It's tough.
Actually, I gave a little recital on Friday night, and I wanted it as a chance to go through the Copland, and I'm going to do so on Sunday as well at Montclair State University. And the pianist originally told me no problem, he's played it before, and then when he looked at it, he's like, it's been too long, I can't do the second part. So we ended up just playing the intro and the cadenza on this past Friday night, which was great. But no, the second half is daunting.
Crazy. I mean, it's also, I would think it's Ben is probably more as a clarinetist. My father was a clarinetist, so I always relate to these stories with clarinet. But it's you've probably done more of this repertoire, frankly, than I have. It's a lot of Copland, I imagine, a lot of the later 20th century works where a lot of the things that I do don't have. I mean, there are tons of meter changes in the second movement. And Jane, the thing is, most clarinet concertos, the traditional ones at least, I'm generalizing, they start fast, they go to a middle slow movement, and they end, with an allegro upbeat tempo. This is quite deceiving because it starts very beautiful and lush and calm, and then it's like, the avalanche in the second, the final movement with a cadenza, a free cadenza right in the middle, which is, Ben, has that been done before?
No, I mean, that's one of the aspects of this piece I wanted to talk about today, was just the uniqueness of the structure. And how Copland came up with this, I don't know. And the fact that it's taken such a place in the lexicon as being completely unique in scope and structure, to me is really fascinating. the length of the cadenza, it could almost be considered a movement if you, I mean, to go into the traditional 3-movement concerto form. But the fact that it is in 2 parts, the cadenza's a few minutes long, which is not really a standard cadenza length. And, you know, and it has varied parts to it. It has different themes within it. And yeah, that along with the harmonic structure of this piece, I find very unique and interesting. Definitely signature of Copland. And then with the meter changes and the variety in part 2, it's just a fascinating piece of music.
I love these descriptions because I am a music appreciate. I'd love to go listen, but I don't think I get all the nuances as someone who is playing the instrument and conducting. So it really enriches the experience to hear you guys talk about some of the details of it. So, and then Ben, give us a little bit of your background. I know you're teaching, and talk to me about, you know, how you got involved with the clarinet.
Well, you know, I have a very common background with my instrument. I picked it in the 5th grade. I was raised in Sioux City, Iowa, and very proud band traditions in that part of the country. And I was challenged to decide between the clarinet, saxophone, and the trumpet was where I was stuck. And I actually we were looking through the encyclopedia with my parents, and I saw a picture of a bass clarinet, and I thought, well, that's the instrument for me. It's called the clarinet. It's shaped like a saxophone. We've found it. And fortunately, I was steered away from that early on, although I do love playing the bass clarinet today. And so I chose the clarinet because I was told I could also play the saxophone the following year if I picked that. So I'd been playing the piano for a number of years at that point and definitely was interested. So kind of came into the clarinet just through a traditional band program. Yeah. And then when I was in high school, I was a serious and successful player in my town and in my state, and I was definitely on a trajectory towards law school. And my father's a small town attorney, and kind of understood your undergraduate degree could be in a variety of areas. So I chose to do it in music and kind of give a big swing at a performance career. So I wanted to be a performance major and see what could happen. And so I went out to Arizona State University and studied with Robert Spring, who just retired this past year. And actually, there's a fascinating connection with him and this piece. When he was a student at the University of Michigan, I believe it was the Rochester Philharmonic, but I could be having my orchestras mixed up, was on tour playing this piece with Copland conducting. And they were in Ann Arbor, and their clarinet player fell ill or was injured, couldn't play the performances. And so he had just won the concerto competition at the university on the piece. And so they asked him to play it with Aaron Copland. Oh, and wow. So I have a copy of his part with Aaron Copland's signature on it. With his markings as he talked through the piece. And this has been kind of a rediscovery process for me with the work. I'm in the process of whether I perform from memory or not. I like to memorize all the concertos I play, and so I'm in that process right now with this piece. And it's very interesting to see Copland's notes in this part and to kind of unearth some of the clues within it. And we were talking about the meter changes earlier, and you can see in Copland's markings on this part that the meter was being used to show how to phrase the piece in a way. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't just for rhythmic clarity, but downbeat emphasis and this sort of thing. And when you start to phrase according to the metric structure, I find I'm discovering more clarity within the piece of music. Currently, I live a very traditional New York City musician life. I played 2 concerts on Saturday, sold out at Carnegie Hall, principal clarinet with a great orchestra doing the music from Final Fantasy, the long-standing Japanese video game. Friday night, I played a little recital where I did the Copland, as I mentioned. This week, I'll do a little Broadway. I'll be playing at Wicked. Sunday, I'm hosting our major recruiting event at Montclair State University, our Clarinet Day. If anyone's interested in attending, I can share that information. Then I'll be doing a session on the Copland Concerto. I'm calling it a discussion and performance. I'm using every opportunity to make sure I'm just fully comfortable on stage in February and ready to just enjoy the performance and getting to do this great work with an orchestra. It's a bit of a dream come true to get to play it in such a setting.
And of course, there's lots of your material on YouTube, including something recently with Sojung Park. Do you want to? I want to listen to a little bit of this. Do you want to give us a setup?
Yeah, this is a lovely piece written by Valerie Coleman, about a 10-minute work. It's not a sonatina, it's a sonatine, so a little bit shorter. She's a very renowned composer these days, originally flutist in the Imani Wind Quintet. She's now on faculty at the conservatories in New York City as a composer and also as a flutist. And this work was done. The recording you're going to hear was done during the pandemic. This was for an online concert that we wanted to give as faculty at Montclair State when we couldn't be together. And so we recorded this at Leschwitz Recital Hall. The great Rob Davidson did the camera work. And yeah, it's just a lovely piece.
Okay, let's take a listen. Absolutely beautiful, Ben. And when I heard this, I could hear a little jazz in there.
Yeah.
So I think I'm right? Like there's
Absolutely
a jazz feeling. Yeah, that's nice.
Absolutely. Her music is infused with a variety of cultural influences, jazz definitely being present in most of the works of hers I've played. I'm going to be doing one of her quintets coming up at the end of February with the Montclair Wind Quintet as well. She's written a few of those. So yeah.
As is the case with the Copland, there's enough jazz there too, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, we haven't even begun speaking about Benny Goodman's role in all of this and the creation of the work. But yeah, no, a very large jazz influence in the Copland. There's a good connection there. Yeah.
Okay, so Sal, as we wrap up, do you want to share any final thoughts about the concert at Carnegie Hall, February 14th? People can get tickets at the Chamber Orchestra New York website.
And Carnegie Hall directly for single tickets. No, just it's exciting to finally do this with Ben. You know, Ben was he's moved on to great things and solo and chamber and all kinds of things and teaching. But he was originally the one of the founding members in the orchestra, principal clarinet. So it's great to now, you know, after all these years, to do something really, you know, on a grander level, so to speak. Copland's as good as it gets, I think, in terms of the repertoire and clarinet. And so it's going to be fun. It's a wild piece, but and so is the Strauss a little bit in some ways. But I think it's a very nice mix of works that we have. The Sospiri is quite beautiful. They all are in different ways. But I think it'll be a wonderful concert, and it's on Valentine's Day, so we hope everyone brings their loved ones and enjoys the music.
Or you make it a Galentine's Day and bring your girlfriends and go out for drinks and, in the neighborhood. So there's so many great ways. I am so looking forward to the concert. I just think it sounds amazing. And even more so now that I know more about the music from both of you. Ben?
I need to draw one more connection here, Sal, and that's perhaps the last Strauss the Chamber Orchestra of New York played. Right. I can't say this for sure. Could have been in 2010, the great concertino for clarinet and bassoon that we did with Stephanie.
Stephanie Morgan, who's yes, we did, which is another Richard Strauss chamber orchestra piece. Again, proof of it's so few and far between that we can do these Strauss works, because they're mostly large. So we haven't done one in a lot, and the last time we did was with Ben as one of the two soloists. So this is a great sort of culmination of that. Yeah, we haven't done it in a while. So
and that was about the time the chamber started.
Yeah, early on. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, thank you both for joining me, and I am really looking forward to the concert. We'll make sure that people have information to get tickets if they want. We'd love to have everybody there. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you both
very much.